Hey guys, welcome back to Agrarian Skies 2. I'm Brim, he's Grum, and this is episode 21. Now what are we going to do today? Well, for starters, we have created our entranceway into the pyramid itself up here. I just thought I would give you a view. Obviously, we've done nothing with creative works up here yet. We haven't done any decorating or anything. We just punched a hole in the side, essentially. We'll get to what's going on down there in just a minute. But let's take a look at what is on our clipboards for today. Let's see. Quests and rewards, the last millennium, Blizz. Is it dark yet? Oh, looky there, it's just turning dark. So it turns out that our last three spawn pads over here, not spawn pads, they're not spawn pads, although it turns out they are spawn pads. Our last three platforms, barges, are actually in the taiga biome, which means they spawn blizzes. How convenient, because we needed blizzes. We can pop, matter of fact, I was doing target practice up here the other day, was sitting right about here, which is far enough that they will spawn, and popping blizzes just for fun. Oh, I missed twice, that's no good. 3 times, no. And of course, like I said, they will, it is far enough from the pads that they'll respawn, and then you just come down and collect the goods, gather those up, and take them back up to the ME system. Now, that is the primary goal for today, is to get some work done on the ME system. We need to get our baby version of the Autocrafting system set up. Autocrafting is another one of those things very much like the ME system, where I said the more we do with the ME system, the faster it grows. Getting the initial system is set up is a little difficult, but it then becomes easier and easier as you go because you've got the system available to help you get it built. Same thing applies to the autocrafting stuff. Getting the baby autocrafting system set up allows us to more easily build the pieces to expand the autocrafting stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Obviously, this has grown some, so we are now up to 14 compressed octuple. That means we've made, well, actually, have we used any yet? We used a quad, and we started off with one that we got from a reward bag, but I guess that's it. So I'm guessing we've made 13, which is not bad at all. Most of these do not have world interaction upgrades in them yet. We probably will not add world interaction upgrades until we finish the autocrafting stuff. The ones that do have world interaction upgrades have got pipes coming out of them. So these two obviously do, and it's pretty impressive. We can sit right here where we've got the clear tube and see cobblestone moving through this thing fairly quickly, headed over here on its way to become octuple up at the top. We've done nothing with the backside. I did have to move this connection. These two will come in right here at this crossroads, just like the one on the other side does, and then this one will come in on a line between these two. So this was the space I had available to move this up from this level up to the next level. So I did move that from this side over here around to the back. Let's take a look at the rest of the base real quick. We have some additional pumpkins just for growing dirt primarily. Oh, we've got a quest for rhubarb. Oh. We've got a quest for rhubarb, and I guess we've now got that. We planted that earlier in the episode. I don't know if we've looked at the finished mining setup, but there it is in all its glory, although I'm 90% certain we've looked at that recently. What do we have down here? Our power system. I actually found I thought I had lost one of the hardened energy cells. It was actually sitting in a chest over there where I had been working. It did not really get lost, so we've got that back. There is an extra building here. Now, I said way back in the beginning that I like trash cans because eventually I would want them to help clean up the mob grinder. Well, there's one here now. This is, ooh, looks like I need to come take care of this stuff. There is a transfer node here that's got a filter in it, and these are fuzzy filters that ignore metadata and MBT. And I've essentially got them pulling out all of the armor that gets put in there. I've got them pulling out bows of all sorts. I think I've even thrown in arrows. Basically anything that I don't want, I've got on there, and it's just automatically getting pumped over into the trash can and going away. I've also brought the bedrockium drum down here for mob juice, and I've got one setting here, which we can pull out real quick, just to take over to what's on the other side. We can pop it right down in there, maybe. And what we've got here is and you'll see that it dropped that's the auto spawner, and you'll see that it dropped a skeleton, and of course that skeleton falls right down in here into the witch water and becomes a wither skeleton for us, and we've got a little hole we can stand in right here with our scythe and kill all the wither skeletons we would like to kill. And of course we're making, when we're not, we do have an issue. There is one spot up here somewhere that they can spawn, and every once in a while I'll get one that drops down just like that one did and jump on my head. Actually, let's go ahead and pull that out. Put this back on here. We'll kill the ones that are in there just because we don't want to leave them here. No reason to let them despawn if we don't have to. Come here. Is that all of you? That's all of you. Did we get a skull? No skull. We've got a number of skulls now, thanks to, I think I've probably run, I don't know, maybe 3 barrels of mob juice through there. And it's just got a retriever keeping this barrel full. So I go over there, I use it. Oh yeah, there you are. Now, I did redesign the pyramid. the pyramid was interesting, but it doesn't fit the shape. You know, I said the shape back there was kind of the shape I had in mind, right? The diamond that expands in the center. So I decided to replicate that over here. So we've got the collapsed diamond with the portal to the deep dark sitting here in the middle. I really like this shape. We kind of baby replicated that here by having the extra lip that comes around. We're going to replicate this shape very much when we get ready to put in our big reactor over here, probably in this pad right here. We'll put our big reactor, and it'll be sitting inside. The reactor itself will be sitting. So if we were to take this diamond shape over here and cut it open right across the middle, then we would squeeze the reactor in between. So you would have the bottom cone, and then the reactor standing up, and then the top cone on top of that. So what have we done up here with our, this is our Britannia stuff. Now we've got a couple of mana distributors in here. I don't know that we built those together, but they're pretty simple. If we take a look at distributors, we do have to spell distributor correctly. It's just 6 living rock and 2 mana steel, and of course we've made a bunch of that sort of stuff at this point, and we've set up another tower with our hydrangeas, so we're producing twice as much mana. So we were actually filling these up pretty quickly, so it became necessary to kind of handle moving this mana around. Matter of fact, these are relatively new, these 4 here, but these over here are probably completely full already, and that one is the one that's getting emptied to fill up these over here. So really, all of these are these that are shooting here, that are shooting at the mana distributor, are really only filling up one pool, that being this pool over here, which is getting emptied to fill up these 4. So our catalyst is under this one. If we pull this out here, we can see there's our alchemy catalyst. And I think that about does it for our base tour. Oh, I moved our flowers from over there, because we're going to need, so everything that is going to need mana shot at it, I figured we'd put over here, and then all the production stuff we would put over here. So I did move all of our flowers over here, where we already had these flowers coming off of the jaded amaranth thing, and our tower of living whatevers. And I think that does it for our tour. So let's hop into a little bit of crafting. The first thing you'll see on here are the plate frames. Now let's go ahead and get some ender pearls, rocking and rolling here, because these things are pretty cool. Let's get, if we'll get in the right machine there. So let's look at a plate frame. These are not particularly difficult to create. We need some signalum and some hardened glass, and I think we've got enough signalum in the system to, we do not have enough signalum in the system. Grr. Okay, we will leave those for now, because we're going to need to go, so what the plate frames allow us to do, you know what, I tell you what, let me pause here, make some signalum, and I'll be right back, and then we'll actually look at what the plate frames do. Okay guys, so let's take a look at this recipe. We're going to look at a plate frame, and let's make a couple of those, because really they go in pairs, and I think, oh, we need to put, we need to put the destabilized resonant ender, that's what I'm looking for, not destabilized, but resonant. And since we have buckets of that, let's just grab a couple real quick. And we need to go the other way with this and pop that in there. Grab those out, and then turn this back the other way and drop the plates in. Now, I believe to configure these, if we will hover over them, it'll say use a multimeter while sneaking to configure. So we need to build a multimeter real quick. We'll take just a second. Multimeter. Oh, we need this one. Yes. Ooh, we may not have an electrum gear. We may have to go make an electrum gear real quick, which would be a bit of a pain in the patootie. Let's see if we do. Ah, we have one. Excellent. Okay, so what we can do with these, and this is going to be one of the platforms where it's important to have one. Let's put it in some slightly out of the way place where we're not constantly stepping on it. And oh, that's what it does right there, is it teleports you. Let's see. We want to configure it though, and we want it going down. And we probably want it going down maybe 4 or 5 blocks. Let's see what that gets us. So that dropped us 1 shy, so that was 5. So we'll put this one over here and tell it to go up. So we'll do the plus sign, and we'll tell it 6. If we step on it, nope, 6 is not valid. So we'll tell it 7. There we go, and we're standing right here. So let's go ahead and make this one further. Nope, 1 further, not. So that should land us right here, and we can step on this one and go right back up. Now, what this does is it allows us, without having to constantly break stone and put stone back, allows us to get inside the pyramids to do work down here. And this is a pyramid, because of what we're going to be doing here, we're constantly adding to and taking from, and as you can see, I've already moved the inscribers down here, but they're not hooked up to anything yet. This is a pyramid that will be inside of a lot. And it makes sense to have an easy way to get in and out of this pyramid, this base, and the translocation plates are the easiest way to make that happen. We can also set them up to teleport us over there and drop us. We could set one up to teleport up into the pyramid up here if we wanted to. They're very handy little things, but they're really not. They were just something we wanted to get done to give us access to the inside of the cone beneath us, so that we could do what we wanted to do today. So it was something we had to do to do what we wanted to do. How's that? All right. So the meat of what we want to get done today, he says halfway through the episode, the meat of what we want to get done are these things. We want to get our wireless system set up, and we want to get Autocrafting set up. Autocrafting is probably more important at this point than even the wireless stuff. So we're going to start with that. To do that, we're going to need an ME interface, a molecular assembler, and a 4K crafting. Yeah, that'll probably all work. So let's hop in here and just do this real quick. So if we do 4K, and we will probably upgrade these at some point from 4Ks up to maybe 16s, maybe even 64s at some point, but that's a bit overkill. So we've got the same kind of process we've had in the past. We're going to need 1, 2, 3, so that we can make 1. And we need the crafting unit itself, which is here, and then we can combine those to get a 4K unit. Yay! Next gen crafting, you betcha, baby. All right, we also need an enemy interface so that we can have a place to handle patterns. We should have all of that in the system. Ooh, we don't have the formation or annihilation cores. Let's build a couple real quick. Now those are in the system. We should be able to grab that out. And we also need a molecular assembler. Now this is where the items are actually created. We will build recipes we don't have. Makes sense that we don't have those in there anymore. This is where the items are actually set up at. Now, we need to talk about channels. If we do not have a controller, the ME controller, no, that's a programmable RedNet. Where's the ME controller? ME controller. ME controller? Where's the ME controller? Where is our ME controller? Oh, there it is, down on the end. Without an ME controller, we can only have 8 channels in our ME system, period. We cannot have more. And channels, you can think of channels like plugins, right? Think of a power strip. A power strip's only got 8 plugins. Now, we can get more plugins if we want to plug in more stuff, but we have to use the ME controller to do that. We will have ME controllers at some point, because the ME controller allows 32 channels per face of the ME controller. The problem is it takes up a tremendous amount of electricity. It takes up a tremendous amount of RF per tick. It's really, okay, so it's really not that ridiculous, but we are still kind of in a baby stage for power. We have not built our reactor. We have not upscaled our power at all, and I think we would find that we would have a hard time keeping our system powered. And really, there's the only problem with the plates. That's why I said we're going to put it in out-of-the-way space, and where did I put it? Right here, where I land all the time. So we need to count channels. Now, anything that uses data, if we're just using it to power, it does not count. So, for instance, these that are down here, we're not... There's no data going to or from these. We're not doing any auto-crafting with them yet, so these are only being powered by our ME system, and power does not count. So these 5 devices do not count in our channel count. What is going to count, our drive bay counts as 1, this ME terminal counts as 1, so there's 2. This ME interface right here counts as 1, so that's 3. Now, our crafting storage will count as 1, so that's 4. The assembler counts as... Maybe the assembler doesn't count, but the ME interface certainly will. So we're still under 8 if we just set up this little tower. And I think, for now, we're going to set these up in clusters over here. But just to get us started, we could set this up like this. And you'll see that it is a multi-block structure, and it immediately changed colors because it has to be in patterns. So this is a 1 by 1, and 1 by 1 is a, I hate to say even number. It is a square number. How's that? So I could do 1 by 1, I could do 1 by 3, I could do 1 by 3, I could do 3 by 3, I could do 2 by 2 if I wanted to, but I couldn't do 1 here, 1 here, and 1 over here, because that doesn't complete a pattern. So that would not be functional. We can put this here, and then we can put the molecular assembler on top. Now, you'll see that this now glows on the inside, so it's getting power. It's also functional, and this thing holds patterns. So I've already built some blank patterns in our pattern machine down here in the pattern terminal. And the very first thing we want to create a pattern for, just because like everybody does and we need it as well, is more blank patterns. And this is the pattern to make blank patterns. We will need to teach it how to make quartz glass, so that we'll go ahead and do that as well. Quartz glass is just Certus quartz plus glass, which it should always know how to do. And we'll tell it to make that pattern. And then we'll go ahead and give it the blank pattern as well. And then we will come around here, and we haven't built the terminal that allows us to see all of our ME interfaces yet, so for now we're going to have to put these in here manually. But now when we come to our system, we actually have another option. If we do craftable items, we will see that we can now order items from the system. we can tell it to, hey, craft me 10 more of these blank patterns. It's going to come up and say, here's all the items I need. Click Start to begin that. Now, each one of these molecular assemblers that are connected to an interface which has the recipe in it are available to help craft that. And each one of the continuous bases of crafting storage can handle one item. So even if we had 2 by 2 sitting here, that would only allow us to craft one item at a time. But if I had one sitting here, and then there was a space, and another one sitting over here, another tower just like this one, I could craft two items simultaneously with different recipes because they are technically different crafting storage. That will make more sense when we get into having higher volumes of crafted stuff. And the total storage that is in a tower, so this one's total storage is 4K crafted storage, determines how complex a recipe that tower can actually craft. For now, again, baby steps, and we're just using this to upscale ourselves, if you will, into much larger storage. So, like the important things, to make a 16K storage, this being crafting storage here, our machine needs to know how to make the crafting unit, so we can go ahead and teach it how to do that. And it also has to know how to make all these underlying components. So it needs to know how to make 1Ks. So here's the 1K. And we can put these in our system. So I'll put this one down here last, and then we'll put I'll kind of leave this space just so I know how I'm working. Now if we look at the craftable items, we can tell this, hey, craft me 3 of these. And it's going to be like, oh, okay, I know how to do that. Let me spit those out for you real quick. And they should come into our system pretty quickly. Looks like they're done already, actually. So if we look at 16K again, can't write the numbers when you're hovering over it. I don't know why. That's if you're not on top of, if your mouse is not on the grid, you can type numbers. Oh, sorry, numbers. Just like that. However, if your mouse is over, if your pointer is over the grid, you cannot type numbers. I'm hitting numbers just going crazy. Numbers, 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 numbers. And I don't know what that is, just a glitch with the NEI, I suppose. All right, so we then want to upscale. Oops. Back, please. We want 16K crafting storage. To upscale from a, to get a 4K, we need 3 1Ks, so we can just teach it this recipe. Here's that recipe. So we can put that in here beside our 1K. And then I doubt we've got a 4K, 16K. The bad news is, with the system as it is by default, you have to have at least one of the pieces in the system in order to be able to craft it. Now there is in the ME stuff, or AE2 stuff, whatever it is, there is a device which will allow you to build a pattern even if you don't have the pieces for it. You can type up the pattern and it'll go, I don't care whether you have the pieces or not, I'm going to let you build that pattern. That can be very beneficial for really complex pattern builds where you don't want to spend lots of time just trying to build the patterns. So we are going to go ahead and do this one though. Did we just do, what do we got in the system? I'm talking and not thinking. We got a 16. Okay, well, that gives us the opportunity to teach, right? So we made a pattern that we no longer want. We can put it in our inventory and shift click on it, and that'll turn it back into a blank pattern, and we can just add it to our blank patterns again. So we need 16K. Now I don't think we can do this. Yeah, see how these are blank? So we're going to need to craft at least one 4K. The good news is that our system knows how to do that. So we'll just order up 3 of these, and it will take me just a second to do that. And we'll go ahead, and while that's crafting, go ahead and type in the 16K. Nope. This one, please. Thank you. So this will teach it how to make a 16K. And then really all we have to do is add to the 16K a crafting unit, and we've already got that in there. So here is this. So we now have a 16K storage and the encoded pattern for the unit itself. So we should now be able to come in here and say we'll need to order up at least one of these real quick. Thank you. We can tell it we want to do a 16K crafting storage. And that these, come on, where's the, oh, we did not order the crafting storage itself. $16K. And we'll build a pattern for that. And put it in here. It's now these 2 pieces. So essentially, in order to build one of these, it has to build all 3 of these, building this one 3 times, 9 times to get up to this, and one of these, and then combine them. We would normally do all of that manually, but we could just come here and tell it, hey, I would like 4 of those, please. And it's going to go through the system and say, hey, you're going to need 144 redstone, 12 iron, you're going to need 30 of these processors, you're going to need all this stuff, here's what it's going to take, and you do have the room to do it. Would you like to start? Yes, I would. And then, in just a moment, if we come back to our craftable and stored, 16K, we should start seeing these arriving in the system. There's one. Now this one we already had some of the pieces for, so it was smart enough to go, hey, you've already got these. There's a second one. Third one, and one more should be coming out. There it is. Now, this is the pattern I like to use for these things. I like to set them up 1, 2, 3, 4 And you'll notice that in that one, that this is not a valid pattern. It goes, hey, that's not square, or it's not a rectangle, I suppose. However, the moment I put this here, that is valid. Or if I take them and put them down here, this is valid. But I can't have them misshapen. That is not valid. And then I'll stagger these so that I've got ME interface here and here, molecular assembler here and here, and then on the next level up, I'll reverse that. So there'll be an ME interface setting above the molecular assembler, and a molecular assembler setting above the ME interface. This gives me lots of ME interfaces to work with, and lots of molecular assembles that are all kind of interwoven together. I really like that. It does take up a lot of channels. So there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There will be 6 molecular assemblers in here, and 6 ME interfaces, and 4 crafting storage. Well, that's a lot of channels. Matter of fact, that one tower would be more channels than this entire system can support without controllers. So that is what we want to build towards. We're just not there yet without better power. But now that we've got even this little tower set up, we can start very quickly multiplying the size of everything we do. For instance, the pattern that we've been building over and over and over and over. World interaction upgrades. We've got 14 in the system. And just for fun, let's go ahead and do this one. Just because I would love to never have to manually build this thing again in my life. We obviously need... I've got 2 spaces open. I do if I move all these down. I don't have to move them down. They don't have to be in any order. It's just that I'm kind of weird about the way things are in there. So, you know, that's just me. Ignore my weirdness. So we have to make one to get it in the system so that we can teach it how to build the rest of them. Now we've got 14. Let's see. An entire phase takes 64 times 4, 256. 256 minus 14 is 242, I believe. 242. Do we have enough? See, okay, so here is... what do we don't have enough of? We don't have enough sticks. So we can teach the system how to build sticks. In this case, I'm not going to. I'm just going to make a bunch of sticks real quick. Sorry about that. We'll do spruce, because we should have a bunch of these. And thanks to my auto attack macro button on my mouse, we'll just make a bunch real quick. Dump those in the system. Now, we should be able to order up. And we may not have enough storage room. 242. Did we have 12 or 14? I think we had 14. It'd be 240. No, it'd be 250. Yeah, math for the win. Stay in school. All right. No crafty CPUs are available. Now, what this is saying is this recipe requires 4,304 bytes, or 4,308 bytes for the crafting plan. Well, we put in one 4K storage over here. It's not big enough. Now, what we can do, and kind of the reason I want to do that recipe, this is valid. This is now a 16K and a 4K for a total of 20K crafting storage. So that recipe, which required 4,308, and we didn't have enough crafting storage for, we should now have enough crafting storage for. It is 4,308, but it now says we can actually do it, where before it said we could not. Now we can just kick that off and let it run, and we can see that over here, it's processing and building world interaction upgrades just as fast as it can without me ever having to click a iron pickaxe into my inventory and then back out of my inventory ever again. Never, ever, never again. Okay, guys, well, let's take a quick look at our quest book, and then we are going to call it an episode. I am doing my best to keep we have 4 quests available. That's good. We have died 5 times. I believe we've looked at the current... that's one of the things I want to build. I want to build a necropolis at some point, probably over in the back corner or on the back row over there. I don't know if I've actually shown, but all the pads are in. They do not have their pyramids underneath them yet, but all the pads are in and all the roadways are in. Now, I haven't redone the stairs yet because I haven't exactly decided. They're all in, but they're all cobblestone. And I don't know if I'm going to leave them cobblestone or do something else with them. I just haven't decided. But I do want to build a necropolis, someplace for us to officially store our remains when the time has come. So let's take a look at what we've got here. I don't know. So this one shows completely completed. There's no quest in here available, but it shows 97% complete. So I don't know if there's some quest that's still hidden from us and we just can't see it. Although, being the learn to skyblock, this is supposed to be the one that is the base one that teaches you how to do everything else. So I don't know if that's a glitch or if there's still something hidden. Let's take a look. One should be here because we did the rhubarb. They want us to get a rhubarb, and it's going to give us a nether wart. This would have been nice early on. We ended up going to hunt for nether wart because we needed it. So we'll claim that one real quick, and then they want us to start building resource seeds. Now, we've talked about doing this for Enderium and Signalum. We are going to do these, although I may do most of the crossbreeding off screen because it's kind of tedious. It's the same thing we did when we were crossbreeding our seeds up to 10-10-10s, except we're doing it with crossbreeding different things to get different things. So let's take a look there. That's all we had over here. Although we could do the chef's tools real quick. We could knock that one out, but we won't do that today. Where are the rest of our Not there, not there. We need to knock out some stuff in Power Grid just to get it out of the way. We've got one in Mob Hunter. Oh, the blizzards, for killing blizzards. Thank you very much. Let's see. Mystical Blood. It's probably down here in... No, it's not in Thaumcraft. Where is it? Applied Engineering. Of course it's in Applied Engineering. We do have these things built, so we'll claim that reward. And then, of course, we immediately upgraded to the growth chamber as opposed to the little guys, so we'll claim that one. And I think this is the one we need to build. We didn't skip them. We built them. But we built them only to jump to the next level up. Let's see if we've got any interfaces. Interface. Let's get over to the stored. We don't have any stored. So I may just... we'll get them built. We're going to need some more interfaces anyway at some point. We're going to build an entire ME system all of its own wherever we do Thaumcraft, because the Thaumcraft stuff can be fed directly into an ME system. We will do that just for the sake of making that whole process easier. Is that the last quest we've got? I think so. Yep, nothing left to complete. All right, guys, well, I think we're going to call an episode right here. I know it was a bit of a busy, kind of all-over-the-place episode, but we had things we needed to get done to make life a little easier and moving forward. And for my off-camera work, I really needed the autocrafting stuff set up to move forward with my off-camera work, just because I didn't want to build another 4,000 of these by hand. Not going to happen. So we want to get this knocked out in this episode, but also we've done so much to the base, and we did talk about that. Yes, we did. Anyway, guys, I know we were a bit all over the place, and we're going to try to be better moving forward. Grum should be back with me tomorrow for tomorrow's episode, so he always helps keep me a little on track as well. So, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.